Hello and welcome to ParksCenter for October 23rd, 2022. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We always appreciate you. If you are new to WDW and TTV, please subscribe. We'd love to have you every week. And then also, please hit the like button as it helps people to find us. Tonight, speaking of people to find, we have a cast of characters here, including Desi,
Hello there.
Coach,
Hello, let's get this going.
and Rob Bazemore. How are you, sir?
Outstanding. Good evening, everyone.
Well, so tonight we are, if you're watching this live, we're a little bit late. We apologize, but if you're not watching this live, then hey, nothing happened. So first of all, while we've had the chat going, we've had a couple super chats we wanted to talk about here and thank some people. So one of them, Jungle Cruiser, very generous, used my Magic Key Magic Band on Saturday, spent 8 hours bounty hunting, and was admitted to the guild. Game was exceptionally fun and gave players a sense of community. Can't wait to go to Magic Kingdom and use it on the Fab 50. Thank you so much for the super chat, and we are going to be talking about Magic Bands coming to Disneyland real soon here. And then William K, God bless you, man. 1999 super chat. Rob Whiteside is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he intends to. Sure. Let's go with that one, my friend. Appreciate you so much. So if you're here with us, thank you guys so much for being with us. Chat along in the chat with us. We'll read what you guys are talking about, and then also super chat if you're so moved. So tonight is the Magic Band Pluses are out. They are in Disneyland, and we've talked about this a little bit. Whether Magic Band Plus is actually worth the difference that you're paying for this premium item if they're giving you enough upgrades. But for Disneyland, I think it's different because for Disneyland, they've never had them. And I always use the example of, when I go there and I'm staying on property, I guess you call it on property, when staying in one of the 3 Disneyland Resort hotels, I've got my, my room key. And then on top of that, I've got my park admission, or maybe it's on my phone, and then I've got my credit card. It's just so much easier to me to be able to have the Magic Band. And now that they have it, I'm very excited for my first trip out there. But Rob B, you were just out there, and you picked up the Magic Band. How are you feeling about all that? Oh, I'm sorry. Here, let me get in on that. There it is.
It doesn't do much, but it was cool to have it. It allows me to keep my phone in my pocket a little bit more. The only things I was able to do it with, I was able to use it obviously to get into the parks, so you don't have to bring out your phone and scroll to your barcode for them to scan. So that was a bit more convenient. Also, it works for Lightning lanes. I purchased Disney Genie as well as a Lightning Lane pass for Rise of Resistance, and just being able to tap was kind of cool. It was interesting when I did it. The cast members, I guess they aren't used to seeing it, so it takes them a moment just to realize what was going on. But it worked out pretty well. You obviously can't use it to pay for anything yet. Hopefully that functionality will be coming down soon. It also did light up during Fantasmic, which was an interesting thing. That doesn't really provide any value to me, but when I was in close proximity to the show, it did begin to light up. I think that's about the extent of the functionality, but it was cool to have. And right now, it's only available to Magic Key holders. So not very many people have them. There's definitely kind of a learning curve here. The thousands of people who are Magic Key holders who were getting them, and there was a line, by the way, when I bought it. There's only a couple of different places that you can pick them up, one in each park, and then one in downtown Disney. And in all locations I looked, there was a pretty long line of, there were probably 50 people who were waiting to get it. And you actually did have to prove that you're a Magic Key holder. They wouldn't just let anyone come up and get them. Anyway, it was a pretty cool experience. And, I also believe that you can map this to your My Disney Experience application in Orlando as well for Walt Disney World. So I'm going to be there in December, and I'm going to try to use the same Magic Band Plus.
Well, why would you do that, man? Why wouldn't you just use a different one at every place? I mean,
Yeah,
you're basically
yeah,
made of money out there.
yeah. If you know, maybe I will not be a good customer if I'm not buying one for each. But I just want to show off that it says Disneyland, and not very many people there will have one that says Disneyland on it.
There you go.
Wow.
So they have 5 that were exclusive to Disneyland and that we got pictures of, and they're on our website. But the one that you have is that light blue one with the Disneyland
Cool
on
one.
it. Yeah, the cool one. I'm sorry, the cool one. There's the DCA one with the Walt statue on it, and then there's this first visit, which I don't know why you'd buy one that says first visit because it will only be your
Especially if
first
it's
visit once. Uh,
only for Magic Key holders.
well, this is
Doesn't
well,
make any
okay.
sense.
That's well, it was Magic Key holders and it was DVC. So
Oh,
DVC, you could have been maybe out there for the first time and got a hold of that. But you're right, or maybe you bought it as a gift for somebody. I don't know. But yeah, again, I think there's a Disney World one that's my first visit too that you can get when you're doing your pre-arrivals. I'm not sure why you would again because it's only your first visit once. I get the button, that's cute. But like a Magic Band that costs you 50 some bucks, that probably isn't where you want to be spending your money. I do like the one that they have that's the Magic Key holder one. So, this one has, I mean, to me, this one's like membership has its privileges. Rob, why didn't you buy that one? If you're not, are you Magic Key anymore or no?
I am. I am. Because I like the castle and I like the iconic Disneyland sign. And that was just kind of a cooler design for me personally.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know what? I just want you to be happy. So as long as that's what's making you happy, then
I did. I
we're all
smiled all day.
Yeah, we're all good. We have another super chat from Jungle Cruiser. I already linked my band to my WDW account. That's some enthusiasm right there.
Nice.
I mean, and Jungle Cruiser again. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. The fact that the Magic Bands have only been out since the 19th in Disneyland, and you got it hooked up to your WDW account. Yeah, go for it, man. That is awesome. So again, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. The idea of the Magic Band Plus though and what you can do, like you said earlier, the Jungle Cruiser, the fact that you can go and do the Batu Bounty Hunters is great. The haptic thing that happens that in Disney World when you go by the Fab 50 statues and then waving at them, and I think I've talked about that before, you wave like an idiot. And then as soon as you put your hand down, some 5-year-old comes up and it activates for them, or it starts to activate and you're like, oh, wait, what's it doing? So that feels a little silly. I think they need to kind of work some of that stuff out. But our reporters in Disneyland actually went to the trouble, and there's a video on our website or about this. They took the Magic Band Plus and went all the way through DCA, every path, just to see, and they held it up to the camera the entire time, so it's fast forwarded through, and just to see if it would do anything, and it didn't. It didn't interact with them in DCA. So I don't know if it's still waiting for something or not. But to me, again, it's a bigger deal that Disneyland finally has Magic Band as a service and not necessarily what the Magic Band Plus offers. So, Desi, with Magic Band Plus, first of all, are you a fan? And then secondly, do you need one that says Disneyland on
I mean, I'm not a Disneylander, so I'm probably not going to buy one that says Disneyland on it for myself. I do really like the Magic Band Plus, um, and not necessarily for me because when I collect Magic Bands, it's more like a fashion statement, so it doesn't necessarily have to do all of the cool things. But my kids like lose their minds over trying to get the statues to do something or even when we watched Harmonious, they were looking at the Magic Band and not at the fireworks display. Maybe that has something more to do with Harmonious than the Magic Band itself, but they were just really enthralled at the idea that it lit up. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, same. So the glow with the show stuff was always great too. My kids had the wand with the glow with the show, and they would like to take it and change other people's ear colors, which you could do. You get your ears right. You want them pink, and then like some obnoxious kid, mine, comes up and goes boop, and now they're red. So that I don't know why they let that happen, but with the interactivity, I think it's just more Disney magic, right? So Coach, I don't know if your kids are into Magic Band Plus yet at this point, or I mean, have you bought a
Yeah,
boatload of them?
we got them when we got them when they first came out. It was very pinch hitter, nice. It was very much we were kind of panicking because we literally like they told us they weren't going to be at the hotel. They said they were. And it was one of those things where we got lucky. We got there at the Contemporary, and my girl Virginia hooked me up. She's like, "Yeah, we got them." I was like, "Wow," because we got an email we didn't. So, but we used it, and I have the Walt one. I liked it. I mean, we were those idiots waving at the statues. Pro tip, by the way, if you're doing that, you have to have your app open to actually get credit for that, which we didn't realize the first day we did it. So that's what I get for not reading our own website. But it's nothing spectacular. It certainly is a little bit of a challenge to keep them charged because we did the Batu Bounty Hunters and it was really cool. We really liked it, and so it was something that we enjoyed. But it was one of those things where, again, there wasn't really anything special at the end of it. Spoiler alert. So I'm hoping maybe they can expand on that. But there were kids running around, and my kids like it. So the charging thing's a little bit daunting. You have to remember to charge them in. I became designated charger guy. That's kind of a dad role, much like carrying the backpack. So, but it is fun. I mean, I'm hoping they'll expand on the technology. That's kind of, I think, what we're all hoping at this point. But is anyone really shocked that a Disney technology thing is not fully operational upon launch? First time that's ever happened. So, but again, it's nice that it's finally getting out there, and hopefully they expand on it. The technology's there, so all the queue and stuff, that was all for just the queues of the rides and the managing the crowd. So it's just, to me, it's just flip the switch, let's go. So
Well, I mean, that's two sides of the coin, right? Like flip the switch means like let's just turn it on and hope to God it works. So, and I think then we go to them and we say, hey, I don't think you're doing this right. Um, Rob, do you think the preview, the idea of releasing this 6 days early for like basically their most loyal customers was just to kick the tires and see if it's working?
Yeah, so two things. I think it was to give some customer goodwill, which I think was great. I mean, it made us feel special when we were there. But also, I think they were definitely trying to work out the kinks. You don't want day one there to be 10,000 people in the parks using these things when the cast members aren't really sure how to manage it. So having a few hundred people each day with them, I think, was definitely a good kind of warm up. And hopefully, when they roll out to the whole park, it'll be much more seamless because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to go try it. Let me ask you this too, Rob. At the gate, that's always been the difference, right? The touch points
Yeah.
when you go into the Magic Kingdom, the touch points you just touch and go, and they've got an iPad and they're looking at it. They're a lot more personal up in your face at Disneyland, right? With the taking your picture and checking the iPhone. How has that process changed for you?
Yeah, it's very different actually. They take the phone, and instead of just scanning the barcode, they push a button and I guess it switches to RFID scanner. So it's the same thing. They have their iPhone, whatever it is. They bring it close to the band. Your picture comes up on the screen, and then they let you in.
Well, what if I don't want my picture taken?
Well, you had to have taken your picture when you use your Magic Key for the first time. I think it's linked to my Magic Keys, so my picture came up.
I still need a good picture at Costco, so I don't really know how I'm gonna get that fixed. But somebody mentioned in the chat 2012 is when they came to Disney World, and it really it was 2013, and it was about this time of year, 2013. So this is 10 years that it took to get Magic Band technology, and I think a lot of it was like trial and error, right? They spent a ton of money to make the infrastructure for 25 plus hotels in Florida and four parks and you know the Disney Springs, and for everywhere they put this stuff, it really made it a challenge. So I'm shocked it took 10 years, but I feel like there was a time where they weren't so excited about this technology and they're like, did we make a mistake? Should we not have done this? And then now I think, and I think I was the reason they decided to keep it because of how much money I spent on Magic Bands. They're like, oh, okay, if he's going to buy that many Magic Bands, I guess we keep it going. You were
We've heard
talking
he's
about,
coming to California, so we're
right,
gonna
exactly.
start selling them over here.
I may or may not have reached out to somebody I know and had them get me. I was gonna say one, and then they were like, you want more than that. I was like, yeah, I do. Let's get more. So I don't know. It's
So you reached out to your enabler.
I did.
Your
So
dealer.
my dealer. We are hooked up. We have it. So I have 3 waiting for me. So again, I'm excited about that. But on the Magic Band Plus side, I haven't gone all in. There are a ton of looks for Magic Band Plus, and all of the ones that have been available, or most of the ones that have been available in Florida, they've had available in Disney in Disneyland now. So when Black Panther came out for Disney World, it came out for Disneyland. Rob, were there any others that you were like, maybe I need to do this, and then you were holding back, going, nah, I'm gonna save a couple bucks and not do this?
Yeah, there's not. Obviously, look at me. I'm not very fashionable. So having multiple magic bands that match my socks or my shirt or doesn't really do anything for me. So, I was fine with just the one.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
look at this guy. I'm as boring as it
Rob,
can
I'm
be.
liking the clean shaven Rob B right now. I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot.
what were you gonna say, Desi?
Last weekend, I wore just like an old Magic Band because it was like my Halloween Magic Band, and it did not have, all the haptic stuff and the lights and everything. And my kids were so upset that I didn't have the Magic Band Plus that I actually had to go buy one just so that they could play with the statues and, see the glow with the show stuff.
Yeah. Well, and again, I hope that they continue to evolve this technology from like a the cool things it's doing kind of a standpoint, right? It should be in every action plan they make for everything moving forward. I feel like that there's some with Cosmic Rewind, it's a newer attraction. Every attraction they do moving forward, everything that they put together, they should keep this in mind and keep people buying them. So,
The question
anyway.
I have is how long before it has a screen on it? Is that 5 years from now? 10 years
I
from
mean,
now?
but isn't that the trick though? It's like you have to wear this on your wrist, and then if you're also wearing an Apple Watch and you're also wearing, a Pokemon Go tracker, or all of a sudden it looks like, you've got 82 things on your wrist. If you're doing all that, it should make sense for it to have a clock. They did a slider at one point that had a clock on it. But yeah, I mean but if it's $54.99 retail price for one that doesn't have a screen, Rob, give me a ballpark of what it would cost for one with a screen on it.
$99.
I just
No,
want
I'm sorry. It's Disney.
puck.
$199.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
puck holder that I can slide onto my regular watch, because that's what I had. I had like the Millennium Falcon and I had Mickey's head that were from the slap bracelet ones that I took it off the slap bracelet and put it onto my watch, and it just made things way more convenient. But those don't glow, and my kids have now been super spoiled and will only accept Magic Band Plus.
Except nothing less. Before we move on, another super chat from WDW Mickey. Thank you so much. This is for Rob W's Magic Band Habit Counseling. Yes. I'm waiting for the intervention. There's going to be one at some point, but not with this group. See, that's the thing
Nope.
about finding
We're enablers.
WDWNT. It's just like, if it's me walking through the park, grabbing a handful of park maps, and my wife going, why do you need all those? And I'm like, don't worry about it. Let's just keep them flat. I need them, I need to save these. And she's like, you're so weird. And then I fall into this group where Tom Corliss and Jason Diffendahl and all of us, when we're out, it's like, did you get maps? I'm going to get maps. I'm going to go back through and get another map for the commemorative map. Did you get? And it's like, these are my people. These are my folks. So there's only enabling here. Nobody
right.
has ever said to me, Rob, do you really need that? No, they go, hey, Venmo me. I'll get you whatever you want. So it's been
No,
it's been
the
funny.
question is, are you sure you only want one?
Right.
Yeah,
No,
it's quantity.
exactly. Rather than counseling me, they're trying to make the problem worse, I think. So anyway, it's not the worst problem in the world to have. It's fine. Adventures with Alicia, we enable you, Rob. You need them all. Yep. I mean, I've got Magic Bands laying all around my house. Like, I didn't even plan for this. It's sitting like right here. This is a Rivers of Light of all things, a Rivers of Light Magic Band 2.0. Again, completely random. So let's move on to our next topic, which is Fantasmic is coming back. And Fantasmic has been back for a while. in Orlando. I mean, in California, and now it's finally coming back to Florida. That's exciting. We've heard, and again, we talked about this last week because we didn't have a date. We had a time frame, but the way they've been doing this is they said we're going to make an announcement at D23. They didn't. Then they said, hey, guess what? It's November, or I think they said end of the year, and then they said November, and now we know November 3rd is when it's coming back. So um, annual pass uh, reservations are already booked. There are dining packages coming out this week. It's happening. Coach, is this a favorite show of yours? Are you excited that this thing's finally coming back?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Anything that gets crowds dispersed, and obviously it's a great show, and it's updated. It's always a good thing. I'm excited to see the difference in. I know they said they updated the lights and a lot of the sound stuff. So I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like. Obviously, they've. I think the a lot of people have been upset with a lot of the changes that Disney have made, or kind of questioned, oh, if there's a cultural insensitivity that they want to get changed. To me, I think it's great because I think you're killing two birds with one stone. You're correcting an issue, but you're also updating the ride, or the attraction that you're dealing with, and that to me is the best of both worlds, right? If you're going to update Jungle Cruise, if you're going to update Fantasmic, I think that's key, right? And instead of just getting rid of it, or not updating the ride and just changing one thing, we have to look at it as, okay, this is sort of forcing them to update the ride, but or the show. This is great. I mean, Fantasmic's fantastic. It's a massive people eater, and it's something that I think we've all missed, right? And anything that puts cast members back to work, entertainment back to work, I'm all for, whether I like it or not. But I happen to love Fantasmic, so I think we were all sort of waiting for it, and I sort of feel like we bullied him into it, to making an actual announcement where it's like, oh, it's coming, is it? Yeah, is that like a Disney summer of in 4 months? And then finally, I think they just caved and they're like, no, 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 like November. When in November? And then they came out with a date. So I think we're all excited about it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
It's longer too, which I like. Made it longer
Uh,
instead of shorter, which is always a good thing.
right. No, that's fine. The last time I was at Disneyland and I got to see this, and I think I told this story before, I was in love with this show all over again. And so it's been too long since we've actually gotten to see it in Florida. And the difference, I mean, there's so many differences, right? There's something very unique about the one in Disneyland because you get to see it around the rivers of America, but there's no seating. It seems like it's a better show because like the dragon's a little bit better. Some of the other things they can do are a little bit better. The Pirates of the Caribbean scene is phenomenal. I wish they could bring like a sort of the sailing ship Columbia to Florida and be able to do the pirate scene because that is an amazing scene when they do that. Rob, when you were there this time, did you go to Fantasmic? I'm guessing no.
I did not, because there were a few lightning lanes that were during the same period of time. And I've seen the show more times than I can count. But I did walk by and see it. And there was, as you can imagine, there were a huge crowds around the water to watch the show. It is awesome. And I do think it's a little bit, I don't know why it feels like it's a little bit better, but I do feel like it's a bit more magical at Disneyland than it is in Walt Disney World. But I didn't get a chance to watch the whole show. No.
Um, Desi, do you guys are you looking forward to coming back to Florida?
Yes. So I cannot make it up next Thursday. So I did make a reservation for next Saturday. And I'm super excited. Can't wait to see it. I'm just happy to have something going on at night at Hollywood Studios right now. So hopefully we can get something cool happening at Animal Kingdom at night, and then we get something at all of our parks.
Yeah. We just had a story drop on WDWNT.com before we went on air that there has been announcements of fireworks testing tonight and I think Wednesday, which we at Hollywood Studios, which we attribute to them getting ready for Fantasmic. There's going to be a cast preview on November 1st. And then on November 3rd, the whole thing starts. So again, it's really neat to see this come back. And at the same time, we feel like we're throwing this huge party for something that should have been there for the past 2 years, it feels like, right? No?
And I feel like they
Yeah.
purposely dropped it on a Thursday so that we had to move News Tonight to Friday next week.
Seriously? Seriously, you think it was like it was that kind of a conspiracy?
Yeah.
I will tell you from a conspiracy standpoint with these dining packages, I've been trying to get a reservation for late November for sci-fi, and I know that that's a hard one to get. but a lot of, me trying to get that, it's been impossible. Like it doesn't even come up on the radar. And I'm wondering if they have already been holding some reservations back, knowing that they were bringing. Yeah, Rob, you
For
agree?
sure.
Yeah, 'cause I've been trying to get one for December actually, and I've been trying now for a few weeks, and I can't get a single slot. So maybe that's what's going on. Hopefully, that means they'll release some slots in the coming days.
Yeah, no, and it's a very different experience when you see the one, like I said, in Florida, because it should be better because you've got that amphitheater bowl. Everybody gets a seat. They have 900 different dining packages that you can do to try to get in there, or to get a good spot. But they load you so early because they've got to load this huge amphitheater, and it's like a mile, like I want to say it's 10-mile walk from the gate to get into
Oh
the
my
amphitheater.
goodness.
It feels like
Yes.
that sometimes, and it's a huge amount of real estate that they take up to do that. But again, like it's an investment in your night. I mean, you can almost accidentally watch the one in Disneyland because you could be walking by and say, "Oh, there it is over there." Now, you can't block a pathway, but if you can find a little place to pull over, you might get an okay spot to be able to see it. So that is one of the things that I feel like bothers me a little bit um, about it. But Desi, when you go, do you take the boys? And if so, how do you keep them entertained for the entire time it takes to get you to get to the show?
They weren't born the last time Fantasmic was running. Um, so they haven't seen it yet. So I guess we'll see. I'll just, you know, fill up the popcorn bucket before we go sit down and hope for the best.
That is a staggering statistic. That it's been so long. Like, how many babies have been born in the world since the Fantasmic has been closed? Let's try to do that math somewhere along the way. Um, I, I don't know. It's just funny to me that it's been closed for so long. Because again, as we're talking about different things, for the past since July of 2020, we've been talking about the things that continue to open, and that here we are again. It's like Fantasmic is finally opening up. Coach, you said you like the people leader aspect of it, so you're saying that you
Yeah.
prefer everyone else go enjoy Fantasmic so you can enjoy Tower of Terror.
I think anything that spreads it out, especially at that park, is a good thing. For me, it is a good show. It's actually good entertainment, which means people will go, right? And people will go to a good show, something they missed. They still need Streetmosphere back. It's ridiculous that hasn't come back yet. Um, I'm still going to bring that up every time we talk about cast members because that was one of the coolest parts about it. And all of my kids haven't really had an opportunity to experience Streetmosphere either. I hope they will one day. But the Fantasmic show, same thing. They were super little, so I'm excited to go see it. I think anything dispersed, especially at that park. There's always Hollywood studios with the little ones. You're kind of like, okay, what are my options? Go to the racers thing again. That's like 20 minutes, or wait in line for an hour to go on.
Are you talking about
Anything else?
Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy?
Yeah, Lightning King's Racing Academy. Yeah,
Mm,
My kids love that.
yeah. I mean,
it's so
it's great,
funny.
but
Anything that
Ka-chow.
most people flame, Desi's kids love.
They do.
Alien swirling
Their
saucers,
that's their
Lightning
favorite
McQueen.
ride. That's their favorite show.
You know what?
Ka-chow.
It's a neat attraction. It's just like you see it once. I'm not sure you need to see it 9 more times, but it's a neat attraction. One
If
of
you're
the other,
two, it's a really cool, and
yeah,
you will see it 9 times in a row.
there's a lot of ka-chows now going on in the chat. So one of the other things about this finally opening is we've heard for a long time that the Pocahontas scene was going to be replaced by this new Heroes scene, which has Frozen, Mulan, and Aladdin in it. That to me, anytime if you go back to PhilharMagic and you add the Coco scene, or you change anything out, I'm going to show up and see what it looks like. So I think that there'll be extra interest in Fantasmic to be able to see these new scenes. But Rob, have you seen the Disneyland one since it's opened back up?
No, I just saw bits and pieces of it this past couple of days.
Yeah.
Maybe probably 10 minutes of it. I haven't seen any new content inside the show.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, again, there's a lot that's different between the two, but they're not getting this new scene because they didn't have one to replace. So, this is going to be the first time that we've seen this. They do not mirror each other like exactly the two shows. They're very similar in the whole concept of it and what happens. But I know that our team will be there on November 3rd at least. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow somebody associated with this blog finds their way in on the cast member preview. So we will keep you posted about how that scene is. But again, you could tell me that is the worst scene that's ever been added to a Disney show ever, and I'm still going to want to go and see it myself because it's something new and it's something Disney. So
I like all of those movies probably better than I like Pocahontas. So I'm fine with them replacing Pocahontas with those. But on the other hand, I feel like those three movies are already represented in the other nighttime shows, and Disney has so many IPs to choose from. Why didn't they choose something else?
okay, I mean that's fair. I feel like their go-to anymore is Coco and Kanto, and maybe Aladdin. I don't know because they're like
Encanto isn't in any of the other nighttime shows, is it?
but they added it to the Main Street Electrical Parade,
Oh,
right?
we
At
don't have that
the
in
final
Florida.
float.
I was thinking ours.
Gotcha. No, I don't think so. I mean, they definitely need to add more Encanto. I'm definitely down for that. I mean, and if you believe everything that comes out of Josh Damar's beautiful mouth, it's coming soon. Did I say that out loud? I didn't think so. I don't think I said that out loud. Robbie, give me final thoughts on Fantasmic before we go on to our Around the Hub.
Again, another thing that's exciting to see something else come back. We're getting closer and closer back to pre-pandemic levels of entertainment. I echo Coach's statement that these are more people coming back to work, and also more as the parks become more and more crowded. This is more things for people to do. Hopefully, it can help impact the experience inside the park for those who aren't not only going to see the show, but those who are trying to ride rides as well.
Right on, Coach.
Yeah, I think it's it's a good show. I mean, it's one of the better shows, and I'm just excited about it. I think, again, we hope that this continues a trend, right? I know we're going to talk about it, but the taco barges getting out of here and all the different stuff, it seems like they're listening to what some of us really want to have happen. So if this is an indication that Josh is truly, and in your words, Rob, the things that are coming out of beautiful Josh Damar's beautiful mouth are actually coming true, then let's hope that that's the case, right? Because he is a true Disney lifer. He is a true Disney fan. So we hope that despite some of the things he said about price increases, hey, if it's better, we're going to pay more for it. I know Rob Bazemore said that a million times, and he's right. If it's going to be higher quality, we're going to pay for that higher quality. And let's hope this is just an indication that it's moving forward, right? And if that's the case, then bring on all the cast members back from everything. Let's do that. So slowly but surely, let's get there.
Yep, Desi.
I'm just excited to have it back. I'm happy. I can't wait to see it. I'm probably not going to watch the preview if we get in with the cast member, just because I want to go in without any spoilers and not have somebody, not see it secondhand before I can see it in person.
Yep, no, I agree. Just some clarification because this is, I believe, replacing the Pocahontas theme, but I think Pocahontas is still a part of this. So what we have, what's listed here is it says Aladdin, high energy Aladdin chase with stunts never before seen, Fantasmic stage show with Elsa set to the song "Show Yourself," and then it says stirring moments with Pocahontas, Moana, and Mulan. So they're replacing that scene with this hero scene. So I can't wait to see the whole thing and see what it's like. Desi, maybe you can go and then come back and report back to us how it's going. Rob, maybe you and I can buddy up and get a reservation for the sci-fi and go, hold hands and watch it together. It'd be great. So appreciate you guys talking about that. We're going to go around the hub and talk about some Disney Parks news in a little bit, but before then, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we shall be right back.
Welcome to News Today with Universal Parks News Today. I'm Tom Corliss. Here now the news.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside as he and a panel of Disney superfans take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog. They'll tell you its history, details, and give their review, so you'll know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube on WDW TV.
Welcome back to ParksCenter. Thank you guys again so much for being with us tonight. We always appreciate it. I know that Sunday night, you're getting ready for the work week, so we hope that we can bring some fun to your night and some information on a Sunday night. And please, if you can, give us a like and also give us a subscribe for WDW TV. We got lots of great content coming up this week, including Disney Entertainment News today on Tuesday. Wednesday night, we're going to do Deep in the Plus with Maleficent with our good friend Allison, who used to be with us on ParksCenter. She's going to be, we're going to be talking about that one. And then Thursday night is News Tonight. So a lot of good stuff coming up. So please subscribe, be a part of it. For now, we're going to go around the hub. We're going to start talking about some Disney news that's happened this week. And one of the things was another lawsuit about annual passes. And part of me is like, I would like this kind of thing to make park reservations go away. If you've watched the show at all, you know I freaking hate them. If we're talking about things like Genie Plus and how much that costs now, and there's surge pricing because of busier days, well, wait a minute, you told me that you're going to manage these days. Why do I need a surge price if you're going to manage these days or block me out? Like, that doesn't make any sense. All of this seems like some diabolical scheme that has never been explained properly. I don't think Universal's never had to do it. Other places haven't had to do it. In France, they were doing like a kind of a revolt about it. Everybody wear yellow and come in and do that. So now, you know, and we had of course, the Magic Key one that happened in California that we thought was going to be the end of Magic Keys. We thought they're going to be gone forever because of the lawsuit that was there. And the basics of it are, you buy an annual pass. The annual pass is supposed to let you in anytime you want. Well, if you're an annual pass holder right now and you want to go on November 3rd to see Fantasmic, it's booked. So, you know, you're not going to be able to do that. Now there's this lawsuit, and it says Disney conduct is predatory business practice aimed at exploiting the customers who support it the most, the annual pass holders. Disney abused a global pandemic to take advantage of its own loyal customers and increase its revenue. So, I mean, we've talked about it before. Annual passes are shut down right now. They're hard to get. But on top of that, you're paying so much more and getting so much less. So as a Walt Disney, part of the thing is, I'm like, hopefully this will get rid of the park reservation system. Like maybe this will get rid of it. And then the other part of me says, please stop suing them because they're going to get rid of the annual passes completely, and then I won't have one. So I'm like, I don't know what's worse here. Desi, you have an annual pass for Florida. What are your thoughts on this?
I can absolutely understand why people would want to sue, but on the other hand, it's just going to make things more difficult and more expensive for everybody. Because, you know, Disney's got to make up the cost of paying their lawyers. And where do you think that's going to come from? So they're either going to start making it so that we're priced out and we aren't buying annual passes, and then keep it where it's like, oh, well, if you don't renew, you can't ever have one again, which, you know, is terrifying. So that's probably why I would renew immediately, is just because, oh, if I don't renew, then I might not ever get to have one again. So, I mean, I can see why they would do it, but I also think it might be a bad idea.
I'm on the same page as you. Like, because they're not available, I panic. And, you know, Rob, you and I talked about this with Magic Key. Rob and I, you know, speaking of holding hands, we were holding hands while we were hitting the button to buy the Magic Key the first time. It's like, did you buy yours? Are you sure you want to buy it? Do we want to buy I don't know. Is this the right move? And so when we came back around to it, I didn't think Magic Keys were coming back. And And when they came back and it was only for renewal, I went ahead and renewed. But Rob, you didn't renew, so they don't have you over a barrel on this one. Why didn't you renew?
They don't have me over a barrel only because, since I moved out of California, I think that the majority of my trips go forward will probably be in Orlando versus in Anaheim. Just because the amount of time it takes me to fly, it's not that much longer for me to get to Orlando than it is to get to Anaheim now. So I am anxiously awaiting the opportunity to hopefully to get an AP in Orlando. I'm disappointed because when I bought DVC back in March, I was told by two people that the APs would be back in the not too distant future. It's now been 8 months now, and they're not back yet. So hopefully that'll happen soon.
I think that's like when they say something's coming soon, right?
Yeah.
When they say the not too distant future, that means like not too distant future means before flying cars, but not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So there was so Disney came back with a statement about this and said, annual pass holders continue to be some of our biggest fans and most loyal guests. This is what we call a compliment sandwich, right? They're going to say something nice, and then they're going to throw something at you. We've been upfront with our pass holders about the updates we've made, and we've offered them the flexibility to opt in or out of the program early in the pandemic, including refunds if they desire. The lawsuit mischaracterizes the program and its history, and we will respond further in court. That actually isn't a compliment sandwich. It had the nice at the top, it had the facts in the middle, and it had the burn at the end. We will come for you. We will come for you. Like that seems a little bit more aggressive than I'm used to hearing from Disney on something like that. But again, is it unfair for the annual pass holder to be able to go in every day, 365 days for the amount of money that they charge? Well, of course you're going to say no, Desi, because you're an annual pass holder. But I mean, I feel
But how
like,
much money do I spend every month on food and merchandise?
oh, no. Don't get me wrong. I feel like they should do this. But I don't know, Coach, are you an annual pass holder in Disney World or no?
We are, yes. We are,
Okay.
yes.
How are you feeling about all this?
We're in the same boat that Desi is. We're renewing because I honestly think they are going to try to phase out annual pass holders through the renewal process. Those that don't renew are going to have trouble getting it, and then I think they're going to change it. So I'm hoping anyway that we'll be grandfathered into some of those changes moving forward. Again, this lawsuit, if you look at the legalese of it, they are over a barrel over in California when it comes to that because of the way they worded it. I find it very difficult to believe that once they got sued and essentially lost, that they didn't have their lawyers go over with a fine tooth comb and go, let's just change the wording on this to make sure. And I know Tom had said that in one of the news updates, that he doesn't think anything's going to come of it. But again, and somebody mentioned in chat, I think it might have been Shale that said, when you sue, you have to disclose things in court. That's always sort of enlightening in terms of what they're actually doing. But to Desi's point, that cost is just going to get passed on to us. So we're going to renew mainly in fear of whether or not we're going to be able to actually go as an out-of-state pass holder. I ultimately think they're going to try to get rid of out-of-state pass holders, which I think is insane. But that is kind of what I think they're going to do. So we're going to renew 100%. We may be going in for the marathon show on Thanksgiving. But we are definitely renewing regardless because of that, because we just don't know the uncertainty of it. Because if we're not even annual pass holders, we're not going to go. We'll go once every 4 or 5 years. We won't go 2 or 3 times a year like we normally do. So.
Yeah. By the way, just an update for you, Rob Bazemore. David Lung in chat said that they would be new passes when pigs fly. So you just look forward. So yeah.
For that.
Yeah, so we don't need to worry about the cars flying, pigs flying. We should be good. So it's a panic thing at this point, because if you are ingrained, and I'll go back to Patrick Hackett and give him credit for this one more time. If you are as invested in Disney as we are, whether it's financially because you bought into DVC, or whether it's because you have a passion for it, you're emotionally invested in Disney. the idea that there wouldn't be an annual pass for you anymore if you're somebody that goes as much as we all do is scary, because like I have DVC, so if I go and I'm gonna have to pay for 1 day passes, your boy's gonna probably have to spend more time at the pool than I'd like to. Because right now I'm a rope drop to kick me out of the park kind of a guy. And so when they're going to go back in and say, hey, we've got to pay, 1 ticket a day. And again, like we talked about last week with the raising prices in Disneyland single day, but yet, if you're in California, you can't get a Magic Key because they're not selling them anymore. But now that price has gone up. It's kind of insane. That it maybe only makes sense then to start doing hard ticketed events. Let me go get as much of the Magic Kingdom as I can from 3 to midnight during a Christmas party or something. I don't know. I just don't know what I would do, without the annual pass. And I guess part of the answer is I just, plop down the $255 and get an annual pass at Dollywood and just spend my money with Dolly. I guess that's what I'm having.
Rob, was interesting what they did at Disneyland is they eliminated the pass, the Dream Key that we had that had no blackouts. And I think that's probably a part of it, right? They can now say, hey, there should be no expectation that you can go to the park any day you want to, as we no longer even have a pass that doesn't have blackout dates. So I think that's definitely a calculated decision that they made in California.
Yeah, because of the lawsuit, right? Yeah, I agree. And I was going to mention that earlier too, is that, the top tier now, even the top tier has blackout dates, because that way they can say, well, we didn't promise you every day. We only promised you most of the days, and that's going to go back to the park reservation system. But again, I mean, I would love to talk to somebody who really honestly is inside the company and knows what they're really doing with park reservation systems, because every time we have a shareholder call, they're always talking about how great the park reservation system has been for them to be able to deploy, cast members and resources to the parks and prepare for people. And yet I don't think they're preparing for people. And again, they're surge pricing us now for different days that are too crowded, but then you've already capped them. I don't, that doesn't make any sense.
My belief is, and I continue to believe this, and no one else does except for me, I still continue to believe that the park system is 100%, and the variable pricing is 100% to reduce the overcrowding in the park. If the price goes up too high, there will be a significant number of people who don't see enough value in it at that price point to keep coming. And that's just what they're doing. Because in my personal opinion, the number one problem in the parks today, and this is all the parks on both coasts, is overcrowding, and driving the pricing is the one surefire way. They obviously haven't hit the pain point yet, because huge crowds are still coming, but they will get to a point where they begin to reduce overcrowding the parks. And this is just one tactic they're using to maximize the revenue and try to replace as much of it as they can as they reduce attendance.
Yeah. But I mean, again, do you think a day comes when either, like we've talked about, like revenge traveling, or when other countries open up like Japan is now, that we get to a point where we go, oh, you know what? This is now we've priced ourselves too high. Let's go ahead and take the price down. I don't see them doing that. Have they ever done that in the history of the company? Has gone cheaper on their tickets? So I mean, if they're doing it for crowd control, the crowd control part should be the pass reservation, but the park reservation. But the park reservation isn't working because, again, as the chat is blowing up with how packed the parks are, the park reservation system should be fixing that, right? Because if you're doing it to help us, because you said the park reservation system was to help us to get more supplies into the parks and more people and more cast members to help us out. And so if that's the idea, then shouldn't the park reservation system be keeping the crowds in check? I don't know. Go ahead.
There are days. I mean, there are many days where you go and you try to get a reservation, you can't, and that's exactly what's happening. They're keeping people from going to the park. Every time you complain about not being able to get a reservation, not being able to be spontaneous, that's exactly what's happening. They're keeping people from being there.
Yeah. Well, yay for us. Let's move on to DVC builds, because the cool part about the Disney Vacation Club is it allows more people to visit the parks. Wait, what? Didn't we just cover that that's an issue? So they're taking some of the rooms, as we've talked about at the Grand Floridian, and they're converting them. So they're doing a lot of building over at the Grand Floridian. Then also next door nearby, they're building a brand new Polynesian building, which a lot of people have equated to a standard off-the-shelf hotel. So can't wait for that to happen. But there's clearing away trees and working hard to make sure that happens. And then Copper Creek, we're seeing a lot of construction over there. So I know I talked to somebody who had just stayed at the Wilderness, and I think that they were told, hey, there's going to be construction, FYI, heads up, there's going to be construction. But apparently the construction started at like the crack of dawn right outside their window. And so then they had to try to move somewhere else. So when you have these, they're all deluxe hotels, right? All of these are deluxe. They're also still working on the DVC in Florida, in California. So all of these things have got to be a nuisance for doing it. But man, they're pushing hard on these to get these done. But Coach, we still can't get the Tron roller coaster up and running. What's up?
It's the one maintenance guy's fault. That's my running joke. No, I just to kind of wrap this all full circle, is the ultimate plan to only offer annual passes to DVC members. Maybe that's their ultimate plan moving forward. Hopefully I just didn't give them a really, really bad idea.
I feel like you did.
Maybe that's their plan. Maybe I hate myself already. I feel like maybe that's the move, right? If they want to sell DVC, well, your benefit to being a DVC member is that you can give us more money to be an annual pass holder. I don't know. It seems like something's afoot here. And again, more to Rob's point, like it's already overcrowded. What's the solution? I don't know. Maybe open all the stuff that's still closed. Why don't we go with that first? Like Fantasmic, for example, it's a people eater. Let's try to expand, and hopefully Epic Universe and Universal pushes them to make a move. I don't know that Tron is going to save the day like they think it is. I think you're going to see a lot of, to your point, Rob, that revenge travel, and people are going to have more options to spend their money. And it's like, maybe we'll just go to Disney for 2 days. We'll go to Universal for 2. I think that'll make a huge difference. And I'm really hoping that pendulum swings backwards and Disney has to make a legitimate move. It seems like, I know it's blue skies, that's the running joke, but maybe they are kind of finally listening and saying, hey, we make all this money off the villain stuff. It'd be really cool if we had like an expansion of the park to eat more people. I still don't know why they haven't touched Tom Sawyer Island. That seems like a really easy move that they can make, kind of adjust the flow of the way things go. I mean, how that's not becoming Tiana's Place with an e-ticket ride and just make it a sit-down restaurant just makes way too much sense to me. They'll unfortunately never change Tony's into Tiana's Place, but I do think there's options there. I know that, they say there's no land there, but in Disneyland, but in Disney World, there's plenty of land. So let's expand it. Let's get it done. So hopefully that's the plan, and it's not just pretend. So yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't expect Tron to save the day. I just expect Tron to be fun, and I want to ride it. That's all. I just want it to be open. Desi, what were you about to say?
Just that I agree with Coach, and let's just move on to the next topic.
Wow. I've never seen Desi that frustrated. All right. Okay. All right. Post show. Let's have it all in post show, Desi. Like, let loose. But Rob, what you got, buddy?
I said I will tell you, I did walk down to Disneyland's hotel to see the towers, and it is coming along. I mean, it's fully built to the rafters. I think now they're just starting to do some of the inside work. It's coming along very quickly. If the same construction crew that is building DVC towers was building Tron, it would have been ready 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that is the point, right? It's like this means money to them. That means capacity. Let's go where the money is. But I mean, ultimately, all of it means money, right? They're going to have to get they're going to have another. They really leaned into Cosmic Rewind, right? They released that. They ran commercials even outside of the Metro for that. They did a booth at Comic-Con for it. So they really leaned into that. I think as they do less big projects, they're going to lean into the ones that they do. And so I think Tron's going to be the one that they lean into. So there will be money there, but not as much as it will be for the DVC. And Rob, I love the fact that you've only been a DVC member for a certain amount of time, but you're already going to do site reviews when you walk down and check out and make sure, how are we doing here, boys? Yeah, I'm an owner. Let's get it going. I want to come here and stay.
I will own at the Disneyland Tower, and I am planning on buying at the Poly as well. So it's terrible. It's an addiction.
Got that Google money. He got that Google money. All right. So let's move on then, like Desi said. And I want to play a little rap sheet roulette here. We had a lot of very interesting stories that we reported on WDWNT, and I'm looking at them. And what I want to do is kind of give the synopsis of each, and then let y'all pick the one you want to talk about. We'll go around and let y'all talk about it. So the first one is the one where there was a guy who said that he was in the bathroom at the Imagination bathrooms, and somebody done started spying on him, and so I mean he's convinced that somebody was spying on him in the bathrooms. So that's the first one. The second one was a rise of the resistance, where a 13-year-old girl gets spit on. Now I think that our headline was a little bit much on that one, because they were cutting in line, and the dad and the daughter are coming through, and this guy is upset about it, and he kind of spit some water on and it just landed on the 13-year-old. But still, it's not pretty. And then the next one is that there was a fireworks fight, which, by the way, I mean, is there any more frustrating thing than being at a getting your spot early for fireworks, and then having people swoop in at the last minute and then block yours, or worse, your kid's view after your kid's been sitting there for an hour and a half waiting? So, these are the three big ones. There was some other crazy stuff that happened, but I'm going to start with Desi, because you look like you're already ready to talk about one of them. Which one do you like?
Some guy in the Imagination Pavilion.
Go for it.
Who thinks that somebody is spying on them in the bathroom? I'm sorry. Was this guy like Brad Pitt or somebody that somebody's really interested in spying on him and what he's got going on as he's taking a number two because he was at a stall, not a urinal? This is ridiculous. No, there's no way somebody was really spying on this guy. And then I love that the description of the suspect is like a guy in a Mickey t-shirt. Like, come on. That describes half the people at Disney World.
So, I mean, the basic gist was, though, he put his phone down, and because,
Yes.
if you've been in a stall, everyone has, there's like a foot of space. Now, why is there space? I don't know, but there's like a foot of space at the bottom. And so he puts the bag down, he puts his phone down on that, and the guy sitting in the stall thinks, oh, that phone is pointed at me and recording me. It was probably a FaceTime or something, and they just laid their phone down. I don't know why your phone is on in the bathroom in the first place. I honestly don't.
It was probably an accident. He probably
FaceTime.
accidentally turned it on, and
Yep.
it
That's
was in
what
no
the
way.
police report said.
If
That's what
you're
the police
really
report said.
trying to like film somebody in the bathroom, I don't know.
Wait.
Maybe you would like go
It
up
sounds like
into
you're
the
about to
roof
give
or
tips on how to
something.
do that, Desi. Look, if you're going to film someone in the bathroom, here's how you do it. I usually take my
just think this is the most
stabilizer in, and if you get it the right
ridiculous
angle, no, it's too much. Rob, what were you about to say, buddy?
So I think that the Orange County Police report said that the police officers believe that it was an accident, that somehow, I don't know, I've never seen a phone that actually has a red light that says recording like the person said he saw. But even the Orange County Police Office thought it was just an accident.
It was a BlackBerry storm. No.
Oh, that explains
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's what it was. Rob, pick another one. They're all weird.
I guess let's go with the spitting in Rise.
Okay.
I mean, does someone actually? Does someone think that someone's intentionally spitting on them? Is that the feedback that we saw from witnesses? I mean,
Yeah.
who spit on someone in a ride?
At least they didn't throw any blows.
Well, we talk about the frustrations about parks being overcrowded. This is something else, right? As parks get crowded, people are paying more and more money. They feel like they're not getting their money's worth. There's more frustration, and we start to see people get upset like this. Another reason to jack up the prices so that fewer people are in the parks.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, we've talked about it a million times. When you spend 6 months getting a trip ready and you spend all this money and you buy all of the premium items, the Magic Band Plus and the Mickey bars and the, dessert parties and all these other things, and you get in there and something like this, happens. Here's my problem though, is they got separated from their party, the dad and the daughter, and we don't know like how. It says that we don't know how they got separated from the party, but it's one of those things that I can't tell you, like when you've been in line for 90 minutes for Rise of Resistance and then somebody is like, there's two people ahead of you and then six people come up to meet them. Yeah, that drives me crazy. So I get, I mean, I'm never gonna spit a bottle of Dasani on somebody, but at the same time, it's
Evian.
yeah, no, I totally go Fiji or go home. I mean, it's just it gets ridiculous. So you never want to see any of this stuff happen, but it's crazy when it does. So, Coach, are you going to give your opinions on one of those two, or are you going to go for the one where they yelled pedophile and he raped me? Go ahead. Which one do you want?
I'm gonna go with the fireworks one. This is absurd. I mean, like, you're a grown man and you're gonna attack a child like that alone. Like, I know for me, like, I like to think how I would react in that situation if I was like a spectator. Um, I just think it's I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like, I get it. I
Was
understand the
it
frustration
that?
of standing. Yeah, standing in front of somebody. They cut in front of you. We typically will shame them. Really, and usually they try to pretend they didn't know they were cutting in front of you. But I just think it's absurd. Like, if you read the article and you read on the website, like what happened, you're just like, is this real? This took place. Cell phones were flying. A grown man's attacking a child, knocking a cell phone out of his hand. Like, it's what's your best case scenario? I always say that. What do you in a best case scenario? What happens? You slap a small child, and then what? You have a better you feel good about that and then can enjoy fireworks. Like, I don't understand. Like, what is the best case scenario on this? And again, it goes to the high pressure of trying to have this great experience. um I think, like anything else though, it's everybody's tension, tired, sweaty, exhausted. Most people don't necessarily know what a Disney vacation is, and if they've never gone, especially, I have a theory that a lot of these people are first timers and they don't necessarily know, or they have unrealistic expectations of what a Disney vacation is. We went last November, and my wife and I, we were just like, we're going to get to go on nothing, but we don't care because we're going to see all the Christmas lights on Main Street. And turned out we were actually able to do stuff. So it was a bonus for us. But we knew that as people have gone a lot. Sometimes people that don't go, they think it's going to be this magical experience, and they still think that there's trash cans every 15 feet and people are, it's not what it once was, and it's not what some people have built it up in their minds to be. So just be nice. I feel bad for the poor cast members that had to deal with this. Like, what are you supposed to do in that situation? Because I'm sure they're not allowed to necessarily put hands on people, but it's like, well, he's assaulting a small human, so I need to step in. Disney security,
But
it's a crowded time. That must be pretty chaotic to say the least.
Yeah,
but
Desi, what were you
also
gonna
the
ask?
mom of the child went a little overboard with
Oh yeah, I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. The entire
And
situation is completely absurd, but
well, and what world was it? I mean, it's not like the kid was cowering. The kid broke out his cell phone, started recording the dude, like the guy. So
yeah.
like,
right,
I mean,
right.
again, you're right. All of it looks awful. Every side of it looks horrible. And in the chat, a lot of them are saying, we just need to do our part. We need to be good citizens. I mean, it's the most magical place on earth. Answer the call. You know what I'm saying? Answer
I
the
don't
call.
even enjoy watching the fireworks from the front of the castle because it just gets too crowded. And either you are at the very front, like right where the rope is, so there's nobody in front of you. And even if that is the case, then, you still don't get a good view because you're not far back enough to see all of the projections. I would rather watch it from either the side or the back and just forget about the projections at this point, because when I went last weekend, they said like 20 minutes before the show even started, oh, Main Street is at capacity. I'm just like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. Who wants to be standing with at capacity crowds for 20 minutes before the fireworks even start. It's just not worth it to me.
Yeah. To my answer the call joke, Michael Sullivan says answer the 911 call. So yeah.
Oh.
I know. You know what? You're right. I mean, that experience is really bad. Like it should be magical, literally magical to be at the Magic Kingdom, standing there watching the castle and the fireworks behind it, and that's the like the kiss goodnight, right? That's the big like this has been a magical day. We've had a good time. You shouldn't have to be shoulder to shoulder fighting your way through, but at least they have those park reservations, so everything. Wait a minute, that didn't work. So it is tough. I feel like at Disneyland it's easier, and maybe it's because it's a locals park and people are like, okay, I saw those fireworks a couple times. I don't need to see them every time. And when you're in Florida, it's all mostly, I mean, mostly tourists from other places who this is their one chance to see this show. I know, Desi, on top of the fact that the crowds are a problem, I know that you have a problem with the show itself. So, there you go.
I did.
She's not the
So I
only.
watched
She's not the only one, Rob.
one time with the Walt and Roy scenes added in from the front of the castle. And that's it.
You're like, they fixed it.
Yay! All right, now I can go watch it from a different angle.
All right, and Rob, we're not going to let you talk about this one. We're going to move on to the next one. So they're not doing COVID pay anymore. I found this to be interesting. That's why I brought this one up, and I think this was a story that may have gotten missed before, is that they've been doing for cast members, and we always want them to do for cast members. This is like, I always, anything we can do for cast members, please do it. Because again, based on the last stories that we just told, they have to go through more than we could possibly comprehend to bring the magic to all of us all the time. So a big shout out to our cast members. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We know that it's not easy doing what you do. So they had something where during COVID, I don't know if you guys remember COVID. We had it here. I don't know if you guys had it, but
No,
um,
not in Florida.
no, I didn't think so. So that's what Ron said. No, not here. They had a policy where that if you had to call out for 2 weeks, up to 2 weeks, they would give you 80 hours of pay for COVID. Which now that we're to the point where we're not wearing masks everywhere we go, and we're not doing temperature checks, and everybody's had the opportunity for a vaccine if they want it, and so on and so forth, we got to a point where where COVID is kind of like the flu. Obviously, we don't want it. Nobody wants it. But I think they finally, as of October 1st, quietly ended this policy to give you the 2 weeks. And I think the 2 weeks even had to do with like if you were exposed and you had to call out. But now they treat it like any other call out. So Rob, I want to talk to you about this one. Do you think this is the right move 2 years later, or?
Yeah, so I think two things, and they aren't the only company. Several other large companies are doing the same thing. I think when COVID was in place, many companies went above and beyond to support their employees, and this was one of those policies that did it. I do know across, again, I'm not speaking to Disney specifically, but in some other companies, this policy was very much abused. It's not very difficult to come up with a COVID test or fake a test, provide it to management, then take 2 weeks off, right? Enjoy yourself. Also, I think we're getting to a point where COVID is becoming more and more like a seasonal flu, right? And it just doesn't make financial sense to be able to pay for someone to take 2 weeks off just because they get a seasonal flu. And that's, I think that's just the times that we're in now. So it would have been great to keep it, but I certainly understand why companies are doing away with that extraordinary additional pay.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying in the chat, "Hey, my company ended that too." So my company didn't have it. So I find that interesting, though. I think in this world where most companies like sit at a desk with a computer companies can allow you to work from home, that works okay, right? If you have to call out, you just work from home. Like, hey, I think I was exposed. I'm going to work from home. And then of course on my end, I'm like, good, do that. Like, please, A, take care of yourself. B, don't bring that stuff in here, right? Like that's what you want to do. You can't do that when you're, loading Peter Pan. So, it's kind of an extenuating circumstance. They don't have the same abilities to be able to work from home. Coach, did you want to comment on this one?
Yeah, I think it's like anything else. It's, Rob, they don't have to have COVID pay because now they can get in the parks and have Disney Plus.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's move on from that
We're
one.
so generous. Sorry, just wanted to say that for the cast members watching.
So
Ridiculous.
they're shifting characters around. So um, basically they're going to be shutting down some of the meet and greets, like the Minnie Mouse meet and greet that they have at Town Square. They're going to be shutting some of these. No, don't cry, Desi. It's fine. Minnie's going to be around. And some of the thought process is that, and I don't know how this affects Mickey and Minnie, but they said that it's getting hard to get cast members hired, and so they're having a problem with getting enough employees in, and because of that, now that we're bringing back things like the Ohana breakfast or the Cape May breakfast or Fantasmic, which takes a ton of characters from Fantasmic. That'll be interesting to see if it has as many, like the riverboat at the end, has as many characters as it did before, because there's a lot of cast involved in doing that show. Apparently, those folks are working 6 days a week. They're doing a lot of stuff, so uh, they're moving people around. So I guess Minnie doesn't have time to go everywhere, so she only she can't do the Main Street show and then also be at Epcot and then also be in Fantasmic. So they're moving people around. I think it sounds necessary, but I feel like it's crazy to me that we had cast members, we had employees. Forget Disney, in general. Everyone's having a problem getting employees after COVID. And like a lot of places near me are closed on Mondays, like restaurants, because they just don't have the employees to be open 7 days a week anymore. So I don't know, Desi, what are your thoughts on all this? I mean, again, you look sad that Minnie's going away, but she'll be around.
I'm sad for my kids who love meeting Mickey and Minnie at the same time. Um, I guess I'm happy for the cast members that they all get jobs and that Disney is actually looking to hire more people. That's pretty exciting to me. So I I just want more entertainment, more people, more cast members. If they think that COVID is over and they aren't going to be paying people for that, then hopefully that means that they can pay more people to be there.
Gotcha. Rob Beesmore, thoughts?
Yeah, same thing. I think a big piece of it is just hiring the right people, and for these people who are in the characters, they have such a small group of people who are the right size, the right weight to be able to do it. The hiring pool is already so small. Then find the people who will come in and work for the rate of pay they're willing to pay these characters. It's probably very difficult to actually to hire. So they either have to have more size inclusive costumes or increase the rate of pay to get more people to be in these roles.
Yeah, when you say costumes, I have no idea what you're talking about. We're talking about Mickey and Minnie. Coach.
Yeah, it's sad, obviously, right? This is a big part of it. This is what is a Disney difference. Um, to Rob's point, you got to pay more, or you can't pay the same and then expect. A lot of these people got struggled. A lot of cast members left; they had no choice. There were people that were whole families that worked at Disney that I mean, when a company like WWNT is donating more money to the cast member pantry than their CEO is, who's worth a lot of money, that's a statement, right? And it wasn't just us donating the money; it was us wearing the cast member shirts. Cast members are the magic. I always wear that when I'm in the parks. I always get compliments on it. Last time we were there, we had the 50th costumes with Minnie and Mickey. Minnie spun me around, pointed to the back of my shirt, literally got on her hands and knees and did the "we're not worthy" thing to me as I was walking out, which was like the coolest thing ever.
Aw.
Um, because they know that they matter. Like and I was just like pointing at her and I was like, no, you are. And she was just kind of jumping around and all excited. But these cast members are overworked. It's not the cast members' fault that are working 6 days a week. We have to remember that. But they need to pay them more money and they need to hire more people. I mean, it's a specific size. I get it. But at the same time, if you pay people more money, they're going to work, right? And they'll be not only will you get more employees, but you'll get happier employees, which will provide a better experience for your guests, which is what the whole point of this whole thing is, right? And that's why we want to hold them accountable. So when we report and talk about this kind of stuff, it brings the issues to light. And again, hopefully, Sparkly Eyed Josh tomorrow's listening.
That man. Anyway, let's talk. Let's skip down to the restaurants because there are some restaurant changes and things that I saw and I wanted to kind of address. One is that the Kona Cafe, it looks like, is going to be to reopen on November 1st with a new look. We don't know exactly what's going on there, but that's exciting. Again, we're getting back to things that are finally opening up again. But what?
I didn't realize that it hadn't opened yet.
When was the last time you ate there? Were your kids born?
I guess not.
Okay.
Apparently not.
Also, Akershus, I always say that wrong. Royal Banquet Hall is going to be opening up again, which is I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought we were always like, I didn't know we were ever going to see this again because again they had, it was a cool down station or whatever during COVID where you could go in and relax and take off your mask, and then it was I think a lounge for a little while, and so now that's finally opening up. And so that's going to be exciting too. That just again to have more table service that reopens on November 4th. But one of the things that
disgusting.
Nice. Okay. Well,
sorry about that one not opening up.
Later on Eating with Des.
The meet and greet is real good. When they had a meet and greet there, it was a good meet and greet kind of character breakfast.
Yeah, good. It was a princess opportunity, which you don't get a ton of princess opportunities. So that's exciting. And then also we saw this with the Flavor Lab preview testing some stuff in the
Flavor was there?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what you're talking about, Desi.
You didn't see that Flavor went. Never mind. Yeah. They had a big clock with Mickey and Minnie. I'm not making this up.
I mean, that could have been a fever dream of yours. I don't know. But there was a DVC, 10-minute DVC video that talked about several things. It's this woman walking through the Flavor Lab, the Flavor Labs at Disney, not Flavor Labs at Disney, and seeing like how the mixologists work and how they pick things out. And they come to this one part of the video where they're like, oh, we're working on this thing for this restaurant, but I can't tell you what. And it's got like the barrel of monkeys and like the Green Army men, and it's like, you can't tell us? Okay. And then later on in the video it said, oh, he was being coy. This is obviously, so they admit that it's for the backyard barbecue. So they're working on table settings and plates and things like that. But when I'm looking at all these things, I'm thinking like the barrel of monkeys, like they can't obviously be putting a barrel of monkeys for you to play with on the table, because then do they just dip them in hand sanitizer afterwards? How does that work? Or same thing with the like, are they going to give you a bucket of army men to play with? That sounds like a mess. I assume like the bucket's probably going to be
steal them.
Yeah, probably. The bucket's probably going to be a service thing, like you get the chicken in the bucket or something, or the same thing with the barrels. Maybe that's kind of like a kid's drink or something. But it's nice to see that they're actually working on something, because there's been so long where that restaurant was announced in 2019. You guys remember that? And it's one of those things where we've been watching it, and
so
every
before
time
my kids were born.
Right, exactly. So now they've got this sheathing up on the outside of the restaurant, which just means, oh, okay, so now they're working on it again and they're getting closer to doing it. I'm excited about anything new coming to Disney, but it feels like this has taken 900 years to happen, and it feels like the funny thing to me, and Rob, I want to come to you about this because I don't know how much you know about construction in general, but when they put that building together, they put it together prefab, like almost overnight. They put the building up back when they first started doing this, and since then there's been nothing. And we talked about the DVC thing, and them like working harder on this and then doing some attraction, but this should mean money to them to have a restaurant open up there. Like, what could possibly take this long?
Yeah, so I think they intentionally delay it because they can't staff the existing restaurants within the resort. So why would you rush to build a new restaurant that you can't staff, right? So I think that was just an intentional delay, and they're moving forward because now they feel like they've got the majority of the existing restaurants open, and they can start and recruiting can start working on staffing a new restaurant. So I think it's 100% an intentional delay due to staffing.
Okay. I mean, I'll buy that. Sure. But I mean, again, that can't be everything, can it, Rob? Like everything is delayed because of staffing. Although one of the things we didn't talk about, actually two things that we didn't talk about, so I apologize about that. We're going to talk about them real quick. We'll go wild card on this one. First one was the barge is caught on fire. There was a barge that caught on fire, and I meant to talk about that at the top of the show, and we didn't talk about it. And I know that Coach alluded to it, but to me, it's like I don't know. I feel like that happens all the time anymore. Like all the times that the top of Mermaid is caught on fire. So I'm sure it's been contained. I feel like we would have heard if like I assume that Harmonious is still going. So but that's a feature at that point. Like, hey, you know what? It's a surprise and delight. They lit it on fire a little bit. So, Coach, I know you want to say something about that because you hate the barges.
Yeah, I think they're missing a fundraiser opportunity here where you could throw things, smash things. Like this. You ever seen those like smash labs you can pay for? That's a great experience if you ever relieve any tension. I think if they pulled them out of the actual lagoon and put them off to the side and sold tickets, I think you'd be pretty surprised how much money people would pay to be able to smash that stuff. So I wasn't really wasn't really disappointed when the taco barges was just left in the oven a little too long. Rob, did you?
It wasn't the taco barge, though, unfortunately.
Yeah,
No,
it was the the
it was one of
Stargate.
the yeah. So I mean, stuff like that happens, but it looks like it was controlled. But at least thank goodness somebody caught it for social media so that we could talk about it. The other thing that happened was, um, Dawn said we don't need no water. Let the blank blank burn. So so there you go. And then the other thing I was going to talk about was Play Pavilion. We are under the impression the Play Pavilion has been canceled, which we've talked about this a little bit on the show. Is that when you go over to Cosmic Rewind, the Play Pavilion is the former home of the Cranium Command and the MetLife Pavilion that was there, and so Wonders of Life, I think it was called. And the dome was refinished and then refinished again, and they've just done all this work on it. We've heard rumor that everything inside was completed, and then they had some kind of retreat where I think the rumor is our boy Josh actually was the one that said let's not do this, but we've just heard that they decided to cancel it moving forward. And if you look when you go over to Cosmic Rewind, there's a permanent curb. Nothing's permanent. They can always break things up, but it looks like they purposefully said let's seal this area off and pretend like it never happened. So that to me is disappointing because again, as we've talked about the parks being overcrowded, this would have been a huge people eater. You've got Cosmic Rewind right there. You've got Test Track, which is always busy over on the side. This would have been a great World Discovery edition to have the Play Pavilion there and something again for little kids to be able to do while they're in there or families to be able to do. So, Desi, were you even looking forward to this one? Because I know I was.
No. I
Great.
wasn't looking forward to it. So I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and trust Josh here.
Sure.
I didn't think that the Play Pavilion looked like it was going to be that great. I didn't really quite understand it. And my guess is that Josh saw what was going on and was like, we can't release this to the public. This looks cheap. This doesn't make any sense. I would rather scrap it and put something together that people are actually going to enjoy than to just have something cheap and, not well done.
If that's the case, great. Yeah. But I mean, something to me is better than nothing. And what we have is a huge pavilion of nothing. No?
It's been nothing for a while. I would be fine with it being nothing if it meant that it's going to be something better later on.
I just remember thinking that everything was like, it's got to be very hands-on. And then here comes COVID. And it's like, guess where I don't want to be is a place that's all hands-on, right? Rob, you look like you wanted to say something about that.
Yeah, I think I agree with Desi. Once you build something and open it, it's much more difficult to swap it out for something that's high quality later. So I'd rather pause it now. They don't need, they already have, Galactic, the Rewind ride and the new Ratatouille ride. They don't need anything in terms of driving additional demand to that park. So I think the decision, and probably the smart decision, was to put this on hold. Let's reimagine it. It's much better than trying to open something that's subpar and then start the process of putting something else there. It makes much more sense to me than doing that.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. Yeah, I'm sold. But again, it sounded like it was already ready to go, and maybe that's a good statement toward Josh. Maybe because of Harmonious being like kind of redone and Enchantment, or happily coming back to replace Enchantment, maybe he is ready to make those kind of decisions to say, hey, look, if this isn't right, we're not going to do it, as opposed to stickers on the walls, or the redo of Pixar Pier, that kind of stuff. So yeah. I mean, I'm down for that.
Steve Jobs at Apple famously said that it's more important the number of things he says no to than the number of things he says yes to. And this could be something for Josh stepping up and saying, this isn't the right thing for us to do now.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. Let's move on to one last thing that I wanted to talk about before we go on to Christmas. The toy boat. What?
I bought it.
Did you really?
I sure did. Yeah.
So the Disney Cruise Line ship play set is now available at Walt Disney World. And when I saw this title, I was like, well, that sounds kind of weak. And I look at it, I'm like, whoa, holy moly, $99.99. This looks kind of crazy. Like, it's got different sounds and things. And I mean, that's quite a thing, especially, if kids go on the cruise and they get to be able to do this. But I think just any kind of play sets, right? Like in a world where everything is, an app or whatever, the idea of a physical thing like that. And so your kids have this and love it, or did you just get
Not
this for
yet.
you, Desi? Oh, okay, gotcha.
I bought it for Christmas. There is also an annual pass holder 25% off discount at Shop Disney right now. So I bought it online instead of in person, since it would be 25% off versus 20 off. And it had free shipping. And I was like, yes, my kids are going to love this. I'm going to have this put together under the tree on Christmas, and they are going to be so happy. It is a bit pricey, even with the 25% off discount, but I can't wait to see their faces when they open it.
I'm going to do some simple math here and say that that's $25 off. You're welcome.
Yes.
25% off of $100, $25 off. Figured that all out on my own. I honestly, yeah, that's a good point. And Adventures with Alicia said that in chat as well. 25% off on Shop Disney until 10/31 for annual pass holders, which is great. I mean, when you have an annual pass like Coach and I do, where you're very far away from the parks, it's nice to be able to take advantage of something like that when you can't take advantage of like the 30%, in person. So that's exciting that an opportunity, and I might need a boat, and maybe we'll all pitch in and buy one for Kamila because she loves a good boat.
Boat boats.
Yeah. So we're running short on time, so let's just go ahead and jump into talking about Christmas. There were a few different holiday things. We talked about holidays last week on ParksCenter. So again, please always take the opportunity to go back and watch last week's episode. Hopefully, if y'all missed it, there was a lot of conversation about the price increases, but also we talked about some holiday stuff coming. But one of the things is that they are putting the turrets on the castle in Disneyland with the snow, and I think that part of that's funny to me is they're not going to put like the lights on the castle in Florida, but they're putting these huge snow turrets on top of the castle in Sleeping Beauty Castle. But also that they're doing it before it's even Halloween is a weird thing too. And also because it doesn't really snow in California, so that's an interesting thing too. But that's actually happening. Rob, I assume that was happening when you were there and you got to see some of this.
Honestly, I didn't notice that was going up. I don't pay much attention to the castle in Disneyland. It's so small. I don't even think I even look at it. If it was going on, I didn't notice.
Wow, what a let them eat cake kind of thing to say. Like, oh, I don't even pay attention to that stupid castle there. Oh, okay. I mean, I think there's something.
You guys have seen the projections, right? In Orlando, and it is. I mean, those projections are pretty incredible. I also love those lights. I understand they're very expensive to put up every year, but also those projections are pretty freaking cool. I'm not mad.
Okay. You're
They do
not
not
not.
put the
Go ahead.
projections on the back side of the castle. Why can't they put the lights on the back side of the castle? And then everybody's happy. You get the Dreamlight fans on the back side, you get the projection fans on the front side. Everybody wins.
Okay.
Because it doesn't match.
It doesn't match now. There's
I
no
think they threw them out
projections on the
anyway,
back
didn't they,
side of the
Rob?
castle.
Didn't we report that they actually threw the lights out, so it wasn't even an option in Florida? I think Tom might have said that. So, R.I.P. lights.
Right. So another thing, listen, the positive thing. I love the candy cane tradition at Disneyland that they do, so that you can go and you can watch on Main Street them make these handmade, uh, amazing candy canes, and then you can actually get, you actually buy one and take it with you. So they do them on Main Street, and then they also do them in Disney California Adventure. But they're doing a a mobile wait list this time. I think that what you used to have to do is go there in the morning and pick a number, and then you would get that, and you would come back later and you would buy your thing. So having a mobile one, I think, is a neat opportunity. But if you've never been able to do that, I would highly recommend going to do it. It's really neat, especially around the holidays, knowing that it's a tradition that's been going on for so long. One of the things I hate to bring up when Patrick's not here, because he just decided that he is actually a munchling influencer, is that they're holiday munchlings. Um, this is
The
another one of
Stitch
those
one's
things.
adorable.
Yeah, I think that what did we drop? Somebody dropped that in our chat. This gingerbread Stitch one, right?
Yes.
First of all,
Yes.
our boy Jake is the world's largest Stitch fan. So literally, he's a big fan, and he's a big fan. So like, I feel like he's the world's largest Stitch fan, and he definitely is going to need to have this. So that's exciting. But again, that is adorable. It is freaking adorable, and I love Stitch, but I don't know. Again, as many problems as I have and addictions as I have to Disney merchandise, I am easily staying away from these. But you're going to need all of these, Desi, or just the Stitch?
No, just the Stitch. The rest of them are, I don't know, kind of creepy looking. Sorry, Patrick. Patrick hashtag Munchinfluencer, I think is what he's been using. Yeah, no, just the Stitch one. The Stitch one, super cute, and I think it smells like gingerbread too, if I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, no, not the other ones, only the Stitch one.
You think this is creepy?
That's creepy. Come on, look at that. I don't
guess
want to roll over and see that laying next to me.
All right. So one other thing for the holiday, or actually two. One is It's a Small World holiday is coming, and that's exciting because if you've ever seen It's a Small World holiday in California, it's great. It makes you go, what? And I think Patrick said this last week, like, why do we even have one in Florida? There's a lot of things that I like about the one in Florida, but the holiday overlay is just so amazing. So they're closing that on October 24th to make way for the holiday, and it's going to open in early December, and then it stays up through the 1st of January, or the first couple of days of January. So that's going to be neat to see. And then been a narrator lineup change, which I mean, I guess they always rotate those, but it was going to be Edward James Olmos, and Cheetah Rivera has swapped out places with Edward James Olmos. Coach, tell me everything you know about Cheetah Rivera. Go.
He was swapped out
Okay.
as a moderator.
Swapped in.
Yeah, he
Wow.
swapped. Well, he was swapped. He was a part of the swap.
Great.
That's what I got for you, Rob.
Yep.
Hey man, you called me 5 minutes before the show started. What do you want from me? Okay. Normally I do good. You're an excellent producer. You give us all the topics way ahead of time.
No. I
Get to read them because I wasn't on.
Yeah. No. I'm with you, and we appreciate it. I find it funny. And hopefully Edward James Olmos is okay. I think he usually does it and probably does an amazing job. I've never seen that one live, but I always look forward to these. But like Cal Ripken Jr., I love. I grew up in Maryland, and was a fan of Cal Ripken Jr. Got to meet him a couple times. Played for the Baltimore Orioles. I don't need to hear him read the Christmas story though. You know, like, so that's one of those things that I think is weird for me. Like, there are some that I think are amazing, like Angela Bassett, Marie Osmond, Neil Patrick Harris, Gloria Stefan, Josh Gad. You know, but it's interesting. Like, I think Edward James Olmos would have been a neat one. So if you know, if you bought a dining
I
package,
don't
I think
know
you
who
could get that.
Edward James Olmos is.
Did you not see
I'm
Battlestar
sorry.
Galactica? Come on.
Nope.
Okay. All right, cool. So then you would have been
I got to
fine
push
with them
back on the
swapping
Cal
out.
Ripken though. I got to push back on the Cal Ripken. I mean,
Go
he
for
is
it.
a phenomenal human. First of all, he's a phenomenal human being. He's a large
Does he
human.
have a
I've
nice
met him several
voice?
times. Yeah, he's actually a very big Disney fan. Him and his brother Billy. But
He's
they do
not.
a lot of
Yeah,
they do a
keep in
lot of
mind. I think
community
he's a
service
super
work.
nice guy. I just.
No, he is, and he's a genuine, like, he's a very big Disney fan. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I think it brings in a different cross section. I'm biased, obviously, because I coach college baseball, but he's a good guy, and I think it'd be neat. I'd actually want to see that one because he's actually really well spoken, very educated, and he's got maybe doesn't have a soothing voice like Edward James Olmos, but he's definitely I think a good choice. I think
Yeah.
an outside the box type of it'll do a great job.
No, I've seen some good ones. Like, I guess I'm being a little too harsh there because I did enjoy it. But Cal Ripken Jr., Joe Morgan, and Ming Na Wen are the three that I've seen when I've gone. So I
I
can't wait
saw
to go back.
Jodie Benson last year, and she was phenomenal.
That would have been great. All right, so basically, we're excited for Christmas, is what I'm trying to say. So we're very excited to get in the holiday season. We're going to have a lot more stuff to report back to you about things during the holidays. So thank you guys for being with us tonight. If you are a Wigs member, and we love our Wigs, thank you guys so much for being a member of the WDWNT Interglobe Society. We have a post show for you after this, so please make sure to stay tuned with us. Thank you guys to everybody on the panel here for being with us and chatting with us in the chat, and for the super chats, Jungle Cruiser, WDW Mickey, and William K. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And don't forget, again, we're going to be here for programming all week long. So make sure to subscribe, hit like on this video, and we will see you guys next Sunday night for another ParksCenter. So take care. Have a good week. Be safe out there.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.